What is up, YouTube family? Thank you guys for tuning back into Wilburn Shenanigans. My name is Chad. This is my wife D. We back with another great video. Today we headed right into my 600-pound life. But we going into that didn't end well. You know, me and D used to watch this show all the time.
No, we used to watch the 1,000-pound sister one.
But we watched 600-pound life too at one point.
Oh, we did?
We did. We did.
Remember.
Before we even got into the sisters, we was watching my 600-pound life. But you know,
like the sisters.
I always like, you know, to know what the story like after, because you know the show just goes off and then they give you like a little quick snippet at the end, like, oh well, she lost this much or this happened, but you don't know how their life continued. So,
and a lot of them, sadly, like they're big from trauma. Like,
yeah. So sad. I mean, it's sad to say this is ending not well. So
I wonder if we've seen this episode.
I think it's multiple.
Here's the watch of bariatric surgeon Dr. Now Zaradan, aka Dr. Now. The people on TLC's reality show My 600-Pound Life try their best to turn their lives around for the better by losing weight with the help of risky weight loss surgeries. Though the show has seen many success stories, there have been a few participants who came really close to losing the battle against time, and in today's video, we are taking a look back at 10 life or death moments on the show. When viewers first met 41-year-old Kalesa, she weighed 644 pounds, and since she was unable to do basic things on her own, she and two of her daughters were living with her sister. Kalesa was regularly overeating to the point where she had to throw up, but it usually wouldn't take long until she got hungry again. Growing up with an alcoholic father and losing their mother to cancer, Kalesa and her 4 siblings ended up in foster care. After being molested by a cousin during a visit with her father, Kalesa's weight started spiraling out of control, but things got even worse when she was raped by a relative at the age of 12, following a fight that led her drunk father to drop her off at his uncle's place, who had just gotten out of jail for raping and molesting 4 of his grandchildren. 4 children and an abusive marriage later, Kalesa had finally found someone she could rely on, but he tragically died in a car accident, leaving her so depressed that she now spent her days in bed eating. When she first came to Dr. Now, he was very concerned by the fact that Kalesa had suffered a heart attack at the age of 39 and had already been too big to get surgery back then. Despite the clock ticking for Kalesa, she struggled to stick to the new diet and developed some intestinal issues. Although she eventually got better and got her weight down to 499 pounds, after getting weight loss surgery, Kalesa sadly passed away a couple of months ago due to complications months after a different surgery.
From a different surgery?
That's sad.
When 41-year-old Laura Perez first appeared on My 600-Pound Life in season 3, she weighed a staggering 594 pounds, and according to Dr. Now, she was in one of the worst physical shapes he had ever seen. Laura had turned to food early on in her life after being molested by an older cousin from the age of 5. Sadly, she had now reached a point in her life where she didn't want to live any longer, just so that her family wouldn't have to take care of her anymore. Laura shocked viewers when she lost an incredible 412 pounds on the show, but unfortunately, her weight loss caused her marriage to break down, as husband Joey felt threatened by her new independence, and she eventually left him for a man named Eric.
Dang, she lost a lot of weight.
Season 8 introduced viewers to 37-year-old Dominic.
She lost a lot of weight.
So her husband left because now he didn't have to depend on him?
No, she had her independency, so she was like able to do
that's what I'm
herself.
saying. So he got mad because she can
She was
do
able to
herself
move
now?
around. Yes, and then she was a new person, so yeah, he got mad and got up out of there because he can handle the heat in the kitchen.
That's sad.
Nick and his brother James, who were homeless and living in a van at the time. Weighing a whopping 672 pounds, Dominic said that he would eat all day if he could afford it. But the food stamps the two got didn't last long, and since they were both unemployed, they were on a pretty tight budget. Following their parents' divorce, Dominic had turned to food for comfort, and things got even worse after a relative started abusing him. Although their mother had recently died as a result of her unhealthy eating habits, that didn't seem to be enough of a wake-up call for Dominic. When they first met Dr. Now, the bariatric surgeon made it pretty clear that they both had to get their life together if they wanted to save Dominic from eating himself to death. Dominic soon started psychotherapy, and when James found a job, the brothers were able to afford a hotel room with a kitchen. However, Dominic still struggled to stick to Dr. Now's diet, and when he failed to meet his weight loss goal for the 3rd time in a row, even gaining 3 pounds, the surgeon said that the brothers first needed to get their lives together so Dominic could focus on his weight loss. He offered Dominic to continue providing for psychotherapy, and by the end of the episode, Dominic was still seeing the therapist and had also started making some progress in his personal life as well as with his weight loss. Season 4's Dottie was in her early 30s when she decided to start losing weight, with the help of Dr. Now in order to get healthy and extend her life because she was scared she wouldn't make it to 40 and wouldn't be able to take care of her 2 kids, 1-year-old Landon and 12-year-old Daniel, who suffered from severe cerebral palsy. After not hitting her goal and coming back home from a pretty disappointing first follow-up appointment with Dr. Now, things got even worse when 12-year-old Daniel started having trouble breathing and ended up being in the hospital on a breathing tube for several weeks. This caused Dottie to gain weight again, and although it was understandable that she lost focus during those weeks, she pretty much did the opposite of what she had said she wanted to do in order to be around long enough to raise her kids. Fortunately, Dottie eventually went back to Dr. Now and was committed to the hospital and put on a controlled diet for a month where she lost enough weight to be approved for surgery. At around 800 pounds, 43-year-old Marla from Nashville was one of the show's heaviest participants ever and was believed to be only a few weeks away from dying.
Oh,
the mom
gosh,
of 3
that's
suffered
crazy.
from arthritis, diabetes, gout,
Oh, I
and
think
had
it's not one to be
lymphedema
making, like,
due to
memes
her
about,
weight.
'cause, like,
She was
the
also
family would
on
be, like,
oxygen at
contributing to
night
her
and had
eating.
not left her bed in a long time. Therefore, Marla was also one of Dr. Now's most challenging patients and in one of the worst conditions he had ever seen. The journey to Houston also took a
I
heavy
remember
toll
this
on
one.
her, so that
Is
during
that-
the
is
first
she
night in
crying
the
in her
hospital,
bed?
she
Yep.
stopped breathing because a blood clot had dislodged. Although they managed to stabilize her and put her on a restricted diet so she would start losing weight, Marla's lack of cooperation soon got her sent home. A few months later, her daughter contacted Dr. Now again, and Marla finally managed to stand on her own feet for the first time in years, which encouraged her to commit to the weight loss. And today, 5 years after starting her weight loss journey, she has not
That's
only
her
managed to
now?
keep her weight
Oh
off,
my
but has lost an
gosh.
incredible 600 pounds altogether.
Dang, that's crazy.
That's amazing.
Although
Wow, it's like a totally
38-year-old
different
Kirsten
person. Like, you see little
Perez had
characters
managed to
start
kick her
coming out.
drug habit, she was still struggling with her food addiction and had gotten so big that she needed help with everything. At 612 pounds, Kirsten felt like a prisoner in her own body. At the beginning of the episode, she had not been out of the house since the beginning of that month, and when she finally went out, she was in for a horrible disappointment. She already struggled to make her way out of the house, but breathing heavily, she eventually reached the car. Unfortunately, she had gained so much weight since the last time she had left the house that she couldn't fit into the car anymore, so she couldn't sit in the front seat and close to the door. Understandably, she was pretty upset by this failure,
Is that
knowing that she was
icing
close to
she's eating?
becoming bedridden and that losing her mobility was a death sentence, as she pointed out herself. Most patients that Dr. Now treats have experienced childhood trauma and struggled
Yeah.
with
That's what-
depression,
yeah,
but the
that's what's
story
up.
of 29-year-old Destiny was slightly different. She had spent an emotionally difficult childhood in foster care, and being born as a boy named Matthew, it wasn't until the age of 18 that Matthew was able to come out as a gay man. Before further sharing his true identity at 22, the woman named Destiny that my 600-pound life viewers met in season 7. She had struggled with depression her whole life, but things got really bad after her brother Anthony died, as Destiny blamed herself for his death. At the beginning of her episode, she weighed in at 669 pounds, and even though she knew she had to deal with her issues and change if she wanted to stay alive, she felt powerless to do so. However, Destiny eventually got her weight loss surgery, and with the help of a psychotherapist, she managed to work through the grief and trauma of losing her brother. By the end of the first year of her weight loss journey, she had shed more than a third of her body weight and was down to 440 pounds.
That's
That's
good.
good, yeah.
Most people on the show have a similar story to tell. Triggered by childhood trauma,
Yeah,
their food addiction
that's
eventually
what
took
they all
over
had
their
in common,
lives until their
sadly.
weight became life-threatening. For Diana Bunch, it had all started when she was molested by 2 older boys at 11 years old, and food became her coping mechanism, as the Wrap reported. During her teenage years, her mother pressured her to diet, which led her to binge eat even more once she had moved out. Diana joined the Air Force, but was discharged when she couldn't perform her duties anymore due to her size. This led her to eat even more, and with her weight spiraling out of control and her lymphedema getting worse and worse, she eventually became confined to her bedroom. Knowing that she would die in her apartment soon if she didn't get help, Diana still needed a push from her niece Megan to finally seek help. After moving to Houston and having weight loss surgery, with Dr. Now removing 70% of her stomach, Diana was able to lose more than 265 pounds and looks like a completely
happy.
different person today.
She looked totally different. That is crazy.
She looks so happy though.
Despite being 38 years of age, Season 8's Tommy had to rely on his fiancée Amanda to take care of everything around the house, including him, due to his weight of 641 pounds. The only independence Tommy still had was going to the bathroom and taking a shower. He stated that food was what he lives for and that he would eat every minute of every day if he could. And with 8 meals a day, he was pretty close to doing that already. Tommy had turned to food for comfort early on in his life, having a difficult childhood with an alcoholic father, and at one point being molested by his mom's friend who was watching the kids for her after Tommy's father had passed away from a heart attack. But like so often on the show, Tommy's weight was also the result of his fiancée enabling him, and what's worse, she had already lost her ex to food addiction. Despite claiming she wouldn't be able to go through this again, Amanda kept enabling Tommy. But the two eventually managed to turn things around, and after getting weight loss surgery, Tommy had lost 218 pounds by the end of the first year.
That's good. At least this
One of the most controversial patients Dr. Now has ever had to deal with was Steven Assanti. Although he appeared on the show alongside his brother Justin, who also needed weight loss surgery, Steven soon became the center of attention. His life was at risk in more ways than one because at 730 pounds, Steven was not only morbidly obese, but was also battling drug addiction and was constantly trying to manipulate doctors into giving him pain medication. His games had gone on for so long that all hospitals in the area had been notified that he was abusing the system, so that any attempt by him to get pain medication would land him in jail. His rebellious attitude made it pretty hard to get Steven on the right track, and Dr. Now got so tired of it that he was ready to give up on him. He eventually suffered a huge setback after getting caught trying to get opioids and being kicked out of the weight loss program and forced into rehab for treatment. There, Steven ended up gaining weight again and blowing up to over 750 pounds. It wasn't until after the show that he finally made some progress and doctors agreed to perform the surgery.
Thank you for checking this video out,
crazy.
and don't forget to...
That is crazy.
It's just sad that they all have that trauma in common. Like, literally, they all have that. And that is, like, horrible.
But I think the show...
I used to think, because, like, you know how you say, oh, your stomach is only as big as your fist. You know that saying or whatever. And I always used to wonder, like, well, then how are they able to eat so much knowing, like, it's like, do they not get full?
I think the show needs to touch on that more because... You don't hear none of that stuff in the show, really. It's all about them just being big, or you just think they just eat a lot.
Yeah.
Because the show doesn't sell it. And I think that's a selling point for the show because that's why people are watching it. And then these people become memes and laughed about because they're 600 pounds, but we don't know the backstory. And I think if they incorporate what we just learned here, then you'll start understanding, like, okay, there's a problem somewhere.
Yeah, because the ones that we've seen,
it's always just,
I don't remember them ever saying any
it's always,
of that.
like, comical or straight up just, they just big. And you never know a backstory of what, like, I never knew none of this. Like, I've watched 600 pounds. They may have. I mean, I ain't seen every episode, but I've never heard them say like, "Oh yeah, you know, coming up, she was, you know, been abusive." Like, you don't hear none of that. Like, you just hear straight up, they 600, 700 pounds, they struggling with eating, and then they make it like watch them. They get in the camera, come show them eating, blah blah. That they go to try to lose weight, and then some of them lose weight, some of them don't. Then they get the surgery, and then the show ends. And then you see, 6 months later, this not like it's like, where is the backstory? I need to start incorporating that so people understand that this is just not people just sitting here eating, getting fat. This is people who have problems with, you know, mental or physical or something happening in their life.
Be that size, but sometimes it's like, look at they have their reason.
But I'm just saying that's how shows make that's how you know these shows make their money. Sad. They only put what they know people gonna like laugh about and see what's funny. You know what I'm saying? Like
you said, there's like a meme about one of them. That's horrible.
They don't give you the big story on it. Like, you just get the funny part or the parts that people think is funny, and it's like these people really got like issues that they had. Like,
I told Chad about 100-Pound Sisters because like they kept making me laugh. Like, they're actually very funny, and we started watching them and stuff. But then it's like there's like a funny moment, and then there's like a serious moment where like they're really trying to help each other, let alone when the sister's trying to help the other sister like lose weight. And it's sad because in their situation, like, she goes out with men that love that. They have a fetish for that. And it's like, how are you helping her?
They're not. They not.
It's crazy. It's mind blowing. It's sad.
But it's good to see like a lot of people that actually did change. Like, my thing is like I've never been like 600 pounds or nothing like that. But me and my cousin, like, we always.
I think the closest you've been to almost is like 3.
Me and my cousin like always go through this like, but we work out together we always like go on this journey together. So. We always talk about like our facial structure. As a human, as people, when we gain weight, we lose our features, like in our face. Like, that's immediately what goes. That's why when you look at them at 600 pounds, or even when they don't even have to be that in depth. And then you see them when they're little, you're like, oh my God, you see their person. Even a person that's like, let's say your original weight is 180, and you gain 250 pounds. Your face fattens up, and now you lose all your structure in your face. And they're like, oh my gosh. And then you lose weight, and you see your natural character, like your structure of your face. And I've learned that. Like, it takes away people's character, like their natural character.
It's not them.
It's not them. And then you're like, oh my gosh, you look so good when you're at this weight. Like, yeah, that's me. Hey, like, what's that mean? They're like, yeah, it's me. Like, you know, I'm still here. That's how it looks. So
Wait, which one? Where's like?
it's like on TikTok. It's me, Jessica.
Oh yeah, from the hot chick when she's like, "It's me, Jessica. I'm in here."
Yeah. So like, it sucks
love that
because
one.
like the natural person, how they look. Like that lady looked good. Like when she lost
she
all that
looked
weight.
happy.
You know, and when they're big, you don't see that structure. You don't see none of that. You don't even see that person in there. So it's just crazy. But it's good to see like a lot of them actually did change their life for the best. Like that's amazing. But we love this video. Thank you guys for tuning back in with us. As always, we'll see you guys in our next video.